Hello, and welcome to Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, forever and always, the man, the myth, the bastard son of Odin, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
Yep.
On this week's show, more superhero goodness. The anticipation builds as we ponder the new trilogy. We check in on MoviePass. Flix and a Six returns to the Shire. And finally, we dive into our flick of the week, Thor, Ragnarok. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar Ale with natural hazelnut flavor.
Look at that.
There's nothing fun written on this bottle. And I realized that I left the box over in the other room.
There's a cheerful gentleman on the front of it.
Yeah, he looks like he's having a good time.
He's raising a glass.
It says dare, risk, dream. I think that's more of a credo for Rogue in general.
A portly fellow.
He's not that large. He's balding a bit. Wearing glasses.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's cheers, and then we'll
Cheers.
take a sip, and then I'll run in the other room and grab
Sounds good.
the box.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is.
That's real good. Well done with this choice. It's like dessert. I'm a big fan of that one. It's a little like brown sugar sweetness to it. I guess that's what that brown nectar is all about. I'd like to talk more about the beer to you, but you see, I don't know beer very well, and Al's left the room. So I'm going to continue to just to ramble on, as it were. Dare, risk, dream. That's what it says in the bottle. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, you were going down like a Led Zeppelin there.
Yeah. Ramble.
Yeah, it is. This is a tasty beer. As I alluded to before we started recording,
Yeah.
I had one of these the other night because I needed to drink a beer, and that was the only thing that was on hand.
Needed to. Oh, my goodness. That sounds like a story for another time.
No, I was just hosting, and I needed to have a beer, and
Gotcha. That works.
this was the one that was on hand. But yeah, I really like this beer. I'm definitely gonna drink this again.
Yeah, that's I don't give fours out a lot on my Untapped app. And
On your what?
on my Untapped app.
Yeah, it was the way you said the Untapped app.
Untapped app.
The Untapped app.
But this one's getting one. And we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's definitely nutty. The hazelnut, I could. It smells almost.
Like copper.
No, I was gonna say like
That might be in my glass.
you probably shouldn't smell copper out of it.
Tastes
mean,
like pennies.
It's like copper colored.
Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me.
I would say there's almost like a toffee taste and like smell to it.
Yeah.
Like kind of both like coffee and toffee maybe, or one of those two. So let's see. The box is kind of disappointing as well. It says a nutty twist to a traditional European brown ale, dark brown in color with a hazelnut aroma, a rich nutty flavor, and a smooth malty finish. There's 14 ingredients to this beer. 2-row, Munich, C15, C75, C120.
What is that?
These are all
Is that plastic explosive? What is going on over there?
You remember how I spoiled the very beginning of your first attempt at recording our episode?
Yes.
So I told you might hear dogs running around upstairs, which we've heard your cats running around several times in previous episodes. Someone decided to take this opportunity to be upstairs and rearrange all the furniture in the kitchen.
Just gonna be let you know all this up front. That's what all the noise is. I like the idea of not telling people, because then it just sounds like bar stools moving around in the bar that we're recording in.
Well, it is literally bar stools moving around. We do have the bar stool seating in the kitchen, so.
Right.
So to get back to sorry, when you said what is that, I thought you were talking about all those malts that I was reading.
I was.
Sure.
No, it really was.
Well, you said what is that, and then you followed up by saying plastic explosive. So.
Right, because you were saying C in numbers.
Oh, fair. I thought it was all of them. I thought you were like protesting all the sounds. I was like, oh, I guess those are really coming through the microphone.
Oh no, that was barely there.
Oh, okay, because it's really loud actually where I'm sitting. So I was like, oh god, I was just trying to power through this and hope that it's not on the recording, and apparently it barely was. So, those are all the malts that I was reading. C15, C75, C120.
What does that mean, though? Like the C15? Like
those are the specific, they must be like patented, like malt. I'm actually not familiar with those. I've never seen any of those before, so I don't know. So I'll start that over again since we just pushed it. It's got 2-row, Munich. Those are both pretty well-known ones that I'm aware of. C15, C75, C120. Kiln Coffee, Brown and Rogue Farms Dare, and Risk malts. Those are trademarked malts. It has Rogue Farms Revolution and Independent hops. It has hazelnut extract, free-range coastal water, and Pac-Man yeast.
I'm sorry?
You heard me correctly. Pac-Man yeast.
Oh, Pac-Man.
As it in the game.
I thought you said Batman, and this all of a sudden was going to be my favorite beer of all time.
Well, it sounds like it's already up there anyway.
It's up there, but if it was Batman yeast, I mean...
This one,
Game changer.
back-to-back gold medals in the specialty beer category for the Great American Beer Festival.
Fun fact, this beer, in the store that I picked it up at, was both in the refrigerator section and on the shelf. And it was $2 cheaper on the shelf, and I don't understand why.
Well, so usually stores will do that if it sells quick or if it's like a favorite of people in the area or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the price change, that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, I bought the one on the shelf. Save $2.
It seems like the right call if you got it cheaper.
I would think so. I would not mind spending an extra $2 on this, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's not cheap to begin with.
No.
It's Rogue, which is a pretty well-known, excellent craft beer brewery. I haven't had many of their beers.
Okay, sorry, that came through the mic.
What?
That noise came through the mic, and that sounded like a Slusho just creeping around upstairs.
Yeah, see, like, those sounds sounded about the same volume as they sounded to me the first time, so I don't know what's coming through and what's not now.
Fair.
So anyway,
I like it.
Rogue is, I'm completely thrown off now. Rogue is pretty well known. It's got a great reputation. I've not had the opportunity to drink enough of their beers. I'm going to be honest. There's always a million of them in the store, so I think I've been a little intimidated by how many choices there were. A little overwhelmed. But this one caught my eye, and I'm glad it did, because it's fucking delicious.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. Well done, Al. Appreciate it. I can't remember... Yeah, no, this was... We haven't really done too many like this, right? I feel like this is just different to me. I can't tell you the types of beers that we had. That's on you. But I can say that this is different.
This is a brown ale, which... God damn it, that fucking sound.
God, I just go with it.
I don't think we've done a brown ale. We've done a few IPAs. We've done a couple of Saisons, I guess.
Yeah. This seems appropriate to be drinking during the winter. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, this is definitely one that would lend itself more towards... I guess it's light enough that it can be drank year-round, but it's that coffee and that toffee and that brown, like, it's, like, warming. And the fact it's hazelnut probably fits with the whole, I don't know.
Right.
It's chestnuts roasting on an open fire, not hazelnuts, but...
This is amazing. What's great is that none of this happened in, like, the hour that we were speaking before the show.
Yeah. And even, like, 4 minutes before we started recording, I said, hey, I'm about to start recording. Do you need anything? And the answer was no, and I assumed that also lent to the fact that, like, try not to make a lot of noise. Try not to open the basement door if you don't need to. Try not to rearrange everything.
Can you not move all the furniture?
See, I mean, the amazing thing is that's probably the table and all 8 chairs have been moved.
Right. I can't wait for you to go upstairs later and be like, what has happened to this place?
Well, the thing is, there's not anywhere else that it can go permanently. Like, you could have maybe moved it 2 inches over from where it was.
Right.
That sounds more substantial than that.
Just a straight-up rotation of the table and chairs.
Like, I'm going to come up and there's going to be nothing different. Except that, like, everything will have been rotated. It's like a square table with its chairs. It's going to be rotated 90 degrees.
Right.
For no apparent reason. It's a square. It doesn't need to be rotated.
God, I really hope that that's the case. You'll never know. So let's hop into our first story. For that, on the list I have you found an article about the 50 top superhero movies. Is that correct?
I did.
Before we get into that list, on the topic of superheroes, I was gonna ask you, what percentage of Justice League do you think will be good?
Well, how are we doing that? By screen time?
Because I read an article that just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't like meant to be a funny article, but for whatever reason, it got a chuckle out of me, and I just like kept laughing at it as time went on. That Joss Whedon is like responsible for like 15 to 20% of the direction. So is this movie going to be like 23% good?
So here's the thing. And I think we might have mentioned this last episode.
Yeah. That
it's going to be awkward because of the fact that two directors worked on this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see... this movie is going to be a fucking Frankenstein's monster. Like, we're going to see the seams, which is annoying.
Right.
But, it is what it is at this point. There's a chance for me to potentially try and enjoy this movie because I'm going in expecting it to not be good.
Right.
Because that's how I've gone in to the last couple DC movies. I went in expecting Wonder Woman to be slightly good just because I heard so many good things before. But still had the skepticism that I've had with all these movies, just with the anticipation that it should be of some amount of quality, and I was vindicated in that, and I was pleasantly surprised. Wonder Woman was a very good movie. Batman vs. Superman, I went in with no expectation of it being good, and it lived up to that expectation. Suicide Squad, I went into expecting it to be an abject failure, and it lived up to that expectation.
Fair.
This movie's gonna be bad. Which is a shame, because I was trying to go into it with open eyes and fairness and try to just enjoy it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of that working out for me doesn't seem very high. But at least I'll know going in that that's what's probably going to happen.
Right. You know what? It's just... I feel like... You know me. I'm a huge Batman fan.
Yep.
So, like, the fact that I'm not so excited that, like, I need to see it, like, Thursday or tomorrow night, whenever they do their early showing of it. Like, I'm just not... I don't have that drive to see it. That's right there is just... That's upsetting to me. Like, it's like they've taken something away from me.
Yeah, and, like... both in our own conversations and even some that we've talked in our episodes here, it seems like I'm rooting against these movies. I'm not. I want to be able to enjoy a good Batman movie or a good Superman movie. There's no reason I wouldn't want that.
Sure.
But they've robbed me of my ability to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not rooting against it because it's not even like one of those things where, like, if we kill it, it'll come back better eventually because someone else will be running it. This has a all or nothing feel to it.
Right.
Like, if it doesn't go right, we won't see it for 20 years.
That might be the break that it needs.
Maybe. So, like, not a single person can come back and be involved with it?
I don't know.
The thing that's annoying is, like, Jeff Johns seems to be, like... Even though they tried to mirror the structure of the MCU, it's not exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kind of have a two-in-the-box thing. Like, Marvel, Kevin Feige's the unquestioned leader of that. Like, he is the guy. It seems like they kind of have a two-in-the-box thing with Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder.
Right.
And Jeff Johns is a DC comic writer. Like, that's... Like, he's an actual comics guy who's involved in the production of this, and they still can't get it right? That's frustrating.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of bummed, but I'll still see it. We'll both see it because obviously you're going to see it and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, that'll probably be ruining our recording next week, right?
Either next week or the week after.
What was the other movie we got to do?
Murder on the Orient Express.
That's right.
Yeah. I think we should put that one in for next week. Murder on the Orient Express.
Give us some distance between the excellent Thor Ragnarok and the shitty Justice League.
Yeah, and also like I'm sure there'll be some really funny articles about it in between that we can point to.
That's true. By the way, spoiler alert: Thor Ragnarok's awesome, guys.
Oh yeah. So if you're only here for that, go ahead and skip ahead. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like we've like kind of like had all these like instances where we kind of have news stories. This isn't really planned. Like we're not planning for these news stories to be a thing to lead off the episode. It's just worked out that way. It seems like there's been a lot of news that's come out that's been interesting to us.
I feel like it
Big
gets us
news for movie stuff. So
gets us in a nice flow too, like where we're ready to talk about the movie when we get to it.
Yeah, and we might play around with the structure too. I guess we could try a little thing where we do like a little bit of review, a little bit of news, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, column A, column B. But
yeah, that's when I'm actually like, when I have time to edit, like we'll record them separately, but like cut it together really nice. Maybe we'll release it over the course of the week.
Oh, that'd be kind of
that would be fun. I'm not gonna do that. That sounds like a lot of work, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's fair.
But anyway, let's talk about this list of the top 50 superhero movies that you found.
Oh yeah, so those of you who've been listening for a while, you've heard me mention the website The Ringer a few times. So they do like themed weeks occasionally. I think I mentioned the good bad movies at one point, the top action movies of all time. So this week is Superhero Week, I think, and they did the staff collectively came up with this thing for the 50 best superhero movies of all time. So they kind of came up with a little equation to try and mathematically rank it. Some of it's obviously subjective, but it was kind of cool that they tried to be consistent through it. So they ranked it based on 4 criteria, weighted it, added it up, and the higher score is the higher number. So like number 1 has the highest score overall.
Right.
So the 4 criteria are critical success. They just pulled their score from Rotten Tomato.
Okay.
Box office performance, but that's an adjusted number, so they adjusted the gross number. So a movie like Superman, the original Superman in the 70s, they adjusted the number for inflation so that it would be comparable across today's numbers.
Seems
appropriate.
appropriate.
They have a rewatchability factor.
Ooh, that's a big one.
So they tried to have everyone who was on this panel of their writers doing this take each movie and rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being they would never rewatch it, and 10 they would love to rewatch it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that number filters into this, and then what they said as timelessness. Again, this is actually in the reverse. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being absolutely yes and 10 being absolutely no, could this movie be improved by being remade sometime down the line from when it was released?
Interesting. Okay.
So, and again, a higher score is better. 10 means this should never be remade. You know what I mean?
Oh, wait.
So, for instance...
Oh, okay.
Think of your favorite superhero
gotcha.
movie. I don't want to spoil what's where. Your favorite superhero movie would rank closer to 10, meaning this should never be remade. This is as good as it will ever be.
Gotcha.
As opposed to something that was so bad that it would maybe potentially be better if it was redone somewhere down the line.
Right.
It's a lower score.
Right.
So we're not going to go over this.
Like for example, if we were to do The Dark Knight way down the line when Maggie Gyllenhaal isn't around anymore, better.
That's the theory.
Got it.
So
that was my dig for the week.
I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I felt maybe were too high, were too low.
Okay.
Were surprising to me, because if we went through these whole 50, we could do like a 2 or 3 hour episode.
I want to hear the top 10.
You want to start with that? We'll do the top 10?
I want to start with the top 10.
All right, number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Cool.
Number 9, Thor Ragnarok.
Damn. Okay.
Number 8, Captain America Civil War. Number 7, original Iron Man. Number 6, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, well.
Number 5, Wonder Woman. Number 4, original Spider-Man. Number 3, original Superman.
Okay.
That is the Christopher Reeve Superman.
All right.
Number 2, The Avengers.
Got it. And can I guess number 1?
Yes.
The Phantom.
See, it's funny that you mentioned The Phantom because I had a conversation with someone at the gym a few hours ago about that movie.
Nice.
That I'm sure a lot of people probably don't remember or don't know exists.
I feel like I enjoyed it, but I've only seen it once, and I was like 6. I don't know how old I was when that came out.
So the movie came out in 1996. I had to look up a little background on it because the reason it came up was because of a reference to a movie, and someone got the reference wrong, or they got the context of the reference wrong, assuming they had the reference verbatim correctly. You would know better than me because you're a much bigger Kevin Smith fan than I. In Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
When they're filming Good Will Hunting 2.
Doesn't it have like a subtitle? Yes. I forget what it is.
It's like Good Will Hunting 2, like Back to School or something like that. Or like, I forget what it was. I don't remember. It's funny because I watched like 20 minutes of that movie like a few weeks ago.
Right.
Like I've seen the movie all the way through once before, but I just happened to catch I just saw it was on TV and like I needed something in the background.
Right.
And that scene was actually part of that block of time that I was watching. And it was. I remember it being horrific, and it was worse than I remember. Like just how bad Good Will Hunting 2 was. But so do you remember the scene, right? Like the two of them, like Jay and Silent Bob accidentally end up as like extras in the movie.
Yeah.
And they get found out and they're running away, and Jay yells something to the two of them. And so this guy I was working out with, like at the gym, the guy I see a couple times a week. He was like talking about that scene, and he said something about Ben Affleck. You were great in The Phantom, or I loved you in The Phantom, or something like that. I was like, is that the line he says? He's like, yeah, definitely. The
line is he's like the bomb in Phantoms, I think is the line.
What?
That Ben Affleck is the bomb in Phantoms, I think is the line.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah. Let me look it up.
He's like, yeah, so I didn't...
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Yeah, so that's funny, and this guy, like Danny, who I see at the gym, like, didn't get... I was like, Ben Affleck's not in The Phantom.
Right.
That's Billy Zane.
But is that what the reference is supposed to be?
Assuming that he had, like, that's what the line is, like...
Well, the line is Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, like, just Phantoms. I'm imagining
that. The thing?
I just assumed it was a movie he was in. I honestly never looked into it.
See, the way he showed the line is like he said, like the Phantom or Phantom. I was like,
no,
he was not in the Phantom. Like that's Billy Zane.
That would be really funny if that was the case. Phantoms is a movie from '98, and Ben Affleck is in that.
See, I would have done the background on this if I had expected you to bring up the Phantom. Which I
it's really fun.
Did not.
Phantoms. It says the plot is 150 dead and 350 missing in the tiny mountain town of Snowfield, Colorado, and that's only the beginning. Oh well, that's not much of a plot.
You made that up.
What's that?
I feel like you made all this up.
No.
I like this way better with Jay getting this wrong and making him.
I know that actually.
Was not in.
I kind of wish that was the case. That is actually really funny. All right, so really, the number one movie, Superman 4: Quest for Peace.
No, it's not that either.
What is it?
It's The Dark Knight, obviously.
Yes.
So its total score was 202. That's based on a 94% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Okay.
An adjusted box office of $612 million.
Dang.
Remake necessity of a 9.73, meaning that it's very close to a 10, meaning it should absolutely never be remade. And the rewatchability is a 9.27.
That's fair. This all checks out.
Yeah, that all checks out to me. I mean, there's anyone who's listening, if you want to check this out, it's on there. It's like on like the front page of like the Ringer. It's like it's gonna be like basically like. On
well, you
top.
know, I'm digging into it. Not right now, but I'm going through.
Yeah.
It.
So
that's
I mean the top 10. I agree with a bunch of them. I definitely don't agree with all of them. I don't know. Now, see, it's hard to say agree, disagree per se because it's not 100% subjective. Some of it is obviously objective in that they pulled the box office numbers. Like, the more money it made, the higher it's going to be up on this list, right?
Sure.
So you can't argue with that. Even it could have been the worst movie ever made, but if it made 5 times more than any other movie ever, it would be up in the top 10. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like I like Spider-Man. I really like Spider-Man too, but I don't. If you're gonna put, I only think one of those belongs in the top 10 if you're gonna do this. And I feel like
yeah, maybe I guess so. But again, it's based on box office too. You know,
I was gonna say, well, that's the thing though. The box office for the first one is probably really pulled it up, right? Because I mean that was like when these movies started like really working.
Well, I mean, it's got a lower adjusted box office than Dark Knight. But not that much lower, 550.
Yeah.
The total score is pretty close. So, I mean, like, its remake and rewatchability is lower, but not that much lower. The remake necessity is a 9, so that's, you know... It's
do we get into negative numbers if they've remade the movie already?
Well, that's the thing, like, The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, they're, like, in, like, the 40s or something like that. You know what I mean? Other things I found kind of interesting, Dark Knight Rises was ranked number 12. Again, that's got to be mostly on the strength of the box office, because that movie is not nearly as good as Batman Begins, which is significantly lower on this list.
Oh, well, yeah, that is interesting.
Civil War is ranked several spots against The Winter Soldier and above The Winter Soldier, and I think The Winter Soldier is the best or second best Marvel movie that's been made.
Yeah, we disagree on that.
I know we do, but I love that movie, and even if you don't necessarily love it per se, it is a quality movie, like, objectively.
Mm-hmm.
Age of Ultron, they, like, pan it in, like, the write-up of it, but it's still ranked number 19. That's, again, largely in the box office.
Sure.
And then you have movies that, like, just have, like, no business. Like, some of these movies probably don't even, like, Suicide Squad made the top 50. Like, that has no business being anywhere near this list.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. But
again, that's being pulled up by box office. You know what I mean?
What just makes the cut? What's number 50 on the list? Number
50, the scores overall were tied. 50 and 49 were Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman. Gotcha. I hate Batman vs. Superman, and it's way better movie than Suicide Squad. Like, they don't deserve to be anywhere near. The ones that just missed the cut, like the next ones in, they had like honorable mentions, were... Sorry, I don't know why they did this way. They're number 85 through 91. I don't know what happened to 50, 86, or 84. Who the fuck did this? Oh, no, sorry. Nope. There was a scroll thing at the bottom. That was really stupidly
user
done.
error.
It was. Well, because it was like really tiny at the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
So 51 through 60 were Amazing Spider-Man 2. I actually thought that was on the list. That's fine. Blade 2. Blade 2 should have been in the top 50.
Oh, yeah. Blade was good.
Hancock. Sky High. Original Blade. X-Men Apocalypse. The Rocketeer.
Oh, my God. The Rocketeer.
I've heard
that VHS.
Very little about it. Batman the movie. I didn't realize that didn't make the cut. That's weird. Batman. Oh, sorry, that's the 1966 one. Okay. X-Men Origins Wolverine and Dredd.
Wait, where was Dredd?
What's that?
Where was Dredd on the list?
Number 60.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess if you're going along those lines of like those stats to put it where it needs to go. I gotta look something up now because I want to say Billy Zane was in The Rocketeer.
Well, you want to know what number 74 was? It's The Phantom.
The Phantom. Oh my God! Hang on, I gotta pull this up.
Number 84, Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
No, he wasn't in that. I was wrong. What was it? Number 84?
Was Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, but like there's other movies that make it on here, like Spider-Man 3 doesn't deserve to be on
I gotta say, like, I know there's a lot of superhero movies, but when you told me up front that there was like a list of the top 50 superhero movies, I was like, are there that many? And then and now you're telling me about the people in the 80s and 90s. 90. What's that? There's at least 90, yeah.
Both Hellboys made it onto the top 50, and that I'm happy about.
That's cool. I remember
Flash
liking
Gordon's
that.
number 43.
Nice.
I had to bring that up because that's going to come up again later.
Is it now?
Yep. That's a promise.
Sounds more like a threat. Jesus.
You can read into that however you will.
All right, cool. Yeah, I definitely. I'm gonna have to dig further into that list. That is.
Yeah, so if you guys are fans of this and superhero stuff in general, check it out. I think we should probably be done with that topic for now, though. We spent longer than I expected.
Oh, we're good. Moving on to the new Star Wars trilogy. The new Star Wars trilogy. So, I texted you earlier this week when I read it for the first time that the director of 8 is being tapped to lead the charge on a new trilogy.
Yes.
Outside of the Skywalker scope.
Yep.
New part of the galaxy.
Yep.
Never before seen. Are all these true statements?
Well, I'm looking at the actual press release on StarWars.com.
Okay.
There will be a brand new Star Wars trilogy, the first of which he is set to write and direct with longtime collaborator Ram Bergman on board to produce. They gave him some props here, saying that he conceived and realized a powerful film of which Lucasfilm and Disney are immensely proud, and in shepherding this new trilogy, which is separate from the episodic Skywalker saga, Johnson will introduce new characters from a corner of the galaxy that Star Wars lore has never before explored.
Which is really it's interesting, and it raises a lot of questions, and I will naturally be excited about it because it's Star Wars.
Yes.
What really excites me though is announcing this ahead of Episode 8 and how happy they are with him.
Yeah, there's a few things with that. One, there's the automatic, well, this means that they fucking love Episode 8, which
Right.
hopefully means we love Episode 8.
Right.
2, this is something that I kind of had almost forgotten about. It's in, like, in the back of my mind that I've been thinking for about a year now. It's a little odd that they haven't announced what's coming next after Episode 8, Episode 9, Solo, A Star Wars Story, and the, as of yet, still unnamed, untitled, unrevealed other Star Wars story that they've promised us.
Right.
But it was getting down to the time where we should have started hearing what the next step was, even if it's way out on the horizon.
Yeah.
We're not in release dates. That's not important. It's just what's coming next, because they made it pretty clear that they didn't want to leave big gaps in between.
Right.
Whether we get a Star Wars movie every year or not, or maybe there would be a year break in between. I did feel like we would start to hear, if not an initial announcement the way this was, kind of rumblings of what they're thinking.
Right.
And we get the announcement of this trilogy, as well as they've released, we discussed in last week's episode, I think it was, the standalone Disney streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And the potential acquisition of 21st Century Fox. They've announced on that, they've fully realized now what their Disney streaming service is going to be, and announced alongside of that there will be a live-action Star Wars TV show that goes on that streaming service.
Right. I figured that was coming.
Well, especially with Star Wars Rebels is wrapping up this year. It's going to finish for good, so.
Right. You know, I'm curious. Like, I'm okay. I know, like, for them, it makes sense, obviously, for there not to be a gap, right, and for them to just ride this as long as they can and pull in absurd amounts of money. For me, I do like the gap. Like when we had, you know, before we got Episode 1, we had a lot of time. Before we got Episode 7, we had a lot of time, and that feeling of going to the movies to see Star Wars Episode 7, like.
Yep.
Was so unreal. And if there is not going to be another gap, we're not going to get that feeling again.
That's probably true. It'll become more like our experiencing of the Marvel movies, right? Where it becomes now, if they do it once a year, we'll still get a more special feeling than we get with Marvel, where they release 3 or 4 or 5 a year.
Sure.
But I think it would probably serve them well to maybe give at least a year gap, right?
Yeah, at least.
Especially if they kind of release that show in that time frame, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that could be a good way to push it off even further. Like, still release some new Star Wars content, but like give us some time before the next feature film that's gonna blow me away.
Yeah. And they're not gonna give us a 10-year gap, but a year or two might serve to be like, you know what? We kind of took for granted that we've had this back, and it's been back in our lives every year for the last 6 years.
Right.
When's that coming back?
Yeah, exactly. So,
the other thing about this too, I kind of as like a post note to the firing of Colin Trevorrow and the bringing back of J.J. Abrams for Episode 9. Everyone was clamoring, Rian Johnson, why are you throwing your hat in the ring for Episode 9? Why aren't you going to do this? I think this shows you why, and he wasn't able to talk about it because he was like, listen, I love making Episode 8. I don't know if I can do 9. I don't know if it works out. Because obviously, this didn't just come up out of nowhere. They had to have been working on this for a while. And he didn't want to tip off that this was in the works, I guess, in his answers.
Right, and that definitely makes a lot of sense. I really do wonder what they'll do with this, though. Like, how do you make something fit and have the same... I'm excited about the concept of a new trilogy because that means we're going to get these characters that we can get behind for a while and we can dig into their stories and get excited about whatever backgrounds they have that will slowly be revealed to us over time. We're getting that right now with these new characters. I love it. That's fantastic. I do enjoy the one-off movie. Rogue One was cool for that. This story has a beginning, middle, and end, and it is in one film, and that's it. That's cool. There was... we've talked about Rogue One in the past. We did an episode on it. I'm not saying it was bad by any means. It's not my favorite, and it's not even close for me. And I wonder. I'm hoping. I don't think that it is the Skywalkers and that storyline that does it for me. It is something about the universe that I really love because I'll play Knights of the Old Republic and these absurd games, and I'll love them because of the way they fit into the universe. They have like that certain pull. What will make this new trilogy do that?
Well, the idea, in theory here, right, is if you distill it down, what they want to do with this trilogy, I would assume, is give you the best parts of Rogue One, where it's a whole bunch of people you never heard of, doing things in Star Wars land, essentially, but remove the connection points of Darth Vader and Death Star and this and that, right?
Right.
And see if that... I mean, it's almost like a science experiment, right? Like, we know that Skywalkers work. We know that Rogue One works, minus the Skywalkers, but it's like at arm's length from the Skywalker. Like, you can still reach out and touch it, but it's separate in its own thing. Can we do something that's completely different? But that's like, it's like in the other room from the Skywalkers. Like,
right.
It's around there, but you can't see it, you can't touch it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have a guess for what you think the time frame of the movie will be? Like, where in our world of Star Wars does it take place?
I would think that the best thing for them to do, well, the thing that would make the most sense to me, is to go deep into the past.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like
a longer time ago in that same galaxy.
A long time ago. In a galaxy far, far, far away.
Right.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, there's a lot of untapped stuff from the canon in the past that, whether they've wiped it completely clean or just kind of like tweaked it and trimmed around the edges or whatever. I mean, they could do. Well, they're saying unexplored, so I guess maybe that would mean that the Old Republic would be off.
Right, that's kind of what I wonder.
Old Republic game, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Although that game is not canon.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure that got axed.
Oh, well, because the game is still running, it's still active, so I thought that it was still canon.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like it's not. If it's not, then that makes that statement work, right?
Yeah.
So, I do feel like that makes sense. I think that could work, and it would be awesome because, like I said, if you played those games too, right? Knights of the Old Republic.
No, I haven't played Knights actually, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the MMO game.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that's still going on. So like that game, like that's that old game that I'm talking about that had that draw for me. Like it felt the same as seeing a Star Wars movie after so many years. Like, it was so cool. Like, it was really well done, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that that's a possibility, and that would be really cool if they did that. I also think another possible route would be to go... I don't know how... We obviously don't know where 9 ends, but if we get jettisoned into the future...
See, the future is dangerous because it can't collide with wherever they're going to go. I imagine that assuming episode 8 and 9 are successful, we'll get... And again, this may be one of those, it'll take 5 or 10 years before we do it.
Right.
But I assume we'll get an episode 10, 11, 12 if 8 and 9 are successful.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah, it's possible.
So it's dangerous going into that sort of thing. So that's why I think the past is safer in this case.
Probably.
There's so many like big events that we like, the forming of the Old Republic, the ancient Jedi Sith War, the Mandalorian Wars. You know what I mean? Like those are all things.
Yeah, there could be some really cool stuff.
The Mandalorian Wars were apparently a whole big thing that took a long time. Like that's right for a trilogy of movies. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that would be where I would think they might go.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Oh, me too. I mean, with that and the show, I'm excited. I'm slightly cautiously excited, but I'm excited for them. I'm just not going to get too worked up about them because they're so far out. You know what I mean?
Right. I will say
right now my mind is on episode 8 and it's on Solo. So.
Exactly. Well, and the fact that episode 8, like just like we said before, like what this means, like the what they're saying by bringing this guy on for these 3 movies, like that just I'm very, very happy.
Well, considering they fired directors of 2 movies that they were making, and
then they tripled down on this one.
Yeah, not double down, triple down on this guy. It's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah,
right.
I'm now glad that I bought 3 separate showtimes for this film.
Hey, you bought a third now?
Oh yeah, I'm going Thursday with you, Friday with you, Sunday with my family.
Nice. I mean, I guess I'll see it a third time too, because I'm sure I'll see it with my family, or at the very least with my dad too.
Yeah.
But we just haven't bought the tickets.
Taking my dad for his birthday. That's what's going on Sunday.
Okay, nice.
Awesome. Well, obviously more on that as things unfold. Yeah. Shall we go to the Shire?
Yes.
What is going on here? So the way, just to give people a little background, the way this works, Al and I get on a call a little bit earlier before the show. We talk about a few things that we want to get in, and I try to get some information out of Al without going too deep into what he wants to talk about, because I like to do it fresh here. I feel like it comes out better if we haven't discussed it in advance. But the reason I get these talking points from is so that I can write the little intro to give you a hint of where we're going. He mentioned The Lord of the Rings, and my mind went wild.
Wait, so you haven't heard about this at all?
No.
So the funny thing is, like the Star Wars thing, like you texted me a couple days after they announced it, I guess, right? Or a day or two or whatever. Or maybe it was 12 hours. I don't remember. I just know that
it could have been a couple hours.
Like,
yeah.
What's that?
It could have been a few hours after. But
it might have been a few. The point is, like, I had fully reconciled myself with what was going on. Like, I was already firmly involved with that story. So the Lord of the Rings thing, though, has been in the news for at least a week or two. Okay. So it came up initially as a report that Amazon was trying to buy the rights to do a TV show, a live-action show, Lord of the Rings. Then it came up that the story was Amazon and Netflix were bidding for the rights.
Oh, dang.
So they officially announced yesterday or the day before that Amazon won the bidding. They have a mega deal, as this says in this headline.
Mega deal.
This headline on Deadline. Yes, I walked myself right into that.
Stop it.
Amazon sets the Lord of the Rings TV series in mega deal with multi-season commitment. Okay. So they purchased the rights, said to be close to $250 million, to acquire global TV rights to Lord of the Rings based on the fantasy novels by J.R.R. Tolkien. They've given a multi-season commitment, which also includes an option for a potential spin-off. So it will be produced by Amazon Studios in cooperation with the Tolkien Estate and Trust, HarperCollins, which is the publishers, and New Line Cinema, which is a division of Warner Brothers. New Line is the production company that oversaw the actual Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay.
So no details about the deal were disclosed, but is believed to be dwarfing any TV series packed to date with a whopping price tag attached. Amazon, Netflix, and HBO had been approached by the Tolkien estate, who had been shopping the project. This is just for the rights, $200 to $250 million, before any cost of development, talent, and production.
Holy God!
Yeah, supposedly this has been on the heels of Amazon being rumored to try to make their Game of Thrones genre IP biggest fucking thing on television. That's what they've been looking for. It looks like they've got it.
I often daydream of what my life would be like with Amazon money.
Right? Like, let me just
I just
steal off a couple $100 million to buy Lord of the Rings.
I'm just gonna buy Lord of the Rings. Who do I talk to about this? I'm not gonna do anything with it. I'm just gonna buy it.
Just buy the ability to do things,
right?
Not buy things, just the ability.
I love those Lord of the Rings movies. I own those.
Yeah. No, they don't own the movies. They just own the ability to make something. It's gonna be set in Middle Earth. It will explore new storylines preceding Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring. There are going to be some creative restrictions imposed by the rights holders on what can and can't be done.
Interesting.
So what is heavily rumored is that this will be attempting to, in some way, adapt the Silmarillion.
Right.
Because that's by far the most complete of his extended works.
I think what we do is they've spent so much money on this that now they're only going to hire one actor. They're just going to hire Andy Serkis, and he's going to play everybody. And I would 100% watch that show.
That dude, both his physical ability to do the motion capture and he's got a few voices up his sleeve.
Right.
I respect that guy. He's carved out quite the niche in Hollywood.
I say you're 5 episodes in before you start to expect anything is up. That's how talented that guy is.
Andy Serkis needs to be in more things.
Yeah, I agree.
He's already in everything, but he needs to be in more things.
So, I mean, okay, this is cool. I gotta say, I'm still recovering from our trilogy watch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I have Shadow of Mordor. What's not the new one? What's the old game that came out? Was it Shadow of Mordor?
Yeah.
I have that game, and I threw it in like a few months ago, and I started playing for like 10 minutes because it's like, oh, I'm gonna go back to this game. I've owned it, and I haven't gone back to play it in a while. I never finished it, so I was like, let me hop into it. I threw it and I started playing with it, and I was like, no. Not yet. And I just ejected the game and I walked away.
I watched most of Fellowship the other day.
Yeah, you got issues, man.
I know. I shrugged it right off. Since we watched all those, I've watched all of them several times.
I can't even handle you. I was the only one that didn't fall asleep.
I fell asleep for like 5 minutes during that.
Hey, I didn't. Maybe it was that 5 minutes of recovery time that you had that reset the clock for you.
I can quote now probably a good 75% of the total lines of all 3 movies.
Yeah, that's terrible. I probably could tell you about 5 characters' names.
What's more concerning is I can also hit about 60% of the musical cues.
Oh, man. So we're going to have to start a Patreon.
Comes on, I can start humming what music cue will start next.
We're going to start a Patreon, and we're going to fund the one-man show. That is you performing the Lord of the Rings. You're going to give Circus a run for his money.
Right?
It's going to be great. Amazon's going to be looking to you next.
I can use some of that Amazon money.
I'm pretty sure I called you an ent in a previous episode.
Did
I don't know. I have to go back to the list of things I've called Al. Oh, man. All right, that's kind of cool. I guess we'll see where that goes.
We're living in a world where there's going to be a Lord of the Rings TV show and a Star Wars TV show. How cool is that?
Right, like it's just like they're not like their own property anymore. They're just a new genre.
Yes.
Oh man, that's crazy. I'm going to give you the movie pass check-in now.
Still works?
Very concerned. I didn't use it this week,
so
I don't know if it's over.
Might still
Because
not.
I promise you, like as I've said before, at some point this is going to be taken away from me. I need to enjoy it while it lasts, so I'm going to really try to use it this weekend to prepare for next week's episode.
Like you have the ability to use it for Justice League and or Murder on the Orient Express, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. As long as I don't see them in the same day.
which probably won't.
You don't know me.
I mean, I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I said probably.
I saw The Foreigner, and I saw something else that day.
So you're going to use it one of the 3 times you go to see Star Wars?
So here's the thing. I already bought those tickets. So I will definitely use it one of the 4 times that I go to see Star Wars.
One of the 5 to 10 times I go to see it.
It's just going to be like Thursday night. And we're like, you know what I should do? I'm going to go see Star Wars. Anyway, Movie Pass. Hopefully it still works. We'll find out. I'll let you know next week. By then I should have used it again. Do you have any other news stories that you want to speak to before we get into this?
I think I'm good.
Okay, I've got something to bring up right before we get into this. It is very related. We talked about Kevin Smith a little bit earlier, and I need to share with you this Instagram post of his, which was just, I love Kevin Smith, and this is exactly why. So he sent a post, which is a screenshot of a Vanity Fair article, and I'm going to read that article to you now, or the portion of it that he posted. It says, "It was Hemsworth's idea to cut his hair and destroy the hammer. Moves that YTT, whom Hemsworth describes as also being sick of old Thor, wholeheartedly endorsed Hemsworth, credits Kevin Smith, whom he once heard bashing the Thor franchise on a podcast for inspiring him to speak his mind to Feige." It goes on a little bit. Hearing someone like Smith, who represents the fanboy world, was such a kick in the ass to change gears. Hemsworth says, "We sort of had nothing to lose. People didn't expect what we did with it this time around." So that's a screenshot that he posted on Instagram with a comment, "Holy shit, ... Chris Hemsworth knows my name." Which is just like, that's just so Kevin Smith. I love it.
See that sort of like weird intersection between like the different things that you like?
What's that?
It's cool to see that weird intersection of the different things that you like. You know what I mean?
For sure. The internet's a crazy place, Al.
It sure is.
Anyway, Kevin Smith goes on in his comment to say that he loved it. And obviously, because this movie is awesome.
It sure is.
We mentioned it earlier. We're at an hour later, but we're going to get into this. This movie, they did it. Like, they figured out what to do with Thor.
Yeah.
Thor, the first Thor movie, good movie. The second one, okay, fine. Enjoyed it. I'm not going to say I love it. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch that over another Marvel movie. This one, I will be going back to over and over again.
So my estimation of the 3 movies is the first Thor movie, okay. Mm-hmm. Second Thor movie, not good. Third Thor movie, top 3 Marvel movie.
Yeah. Which is just...
Well, it's funny because I know we talked about it a few months ago. I think it was on an episode, like, I've never before said the sentence, "I'm looking forward to that new Thor movie."
Right.
And I was looking forward to this one because it looked fucking awesome, and it lived up to it big time.
Like, the movie opens making you laugh.
Yes.
And it's like, it's not clear to you in that moment. You're just thinking, okay, like, they've gotten comfortable. They know how to make jokes now. They know how to work them into this world and make you laugh. That's great. It becomes pretty clear, like, another, 10 minutes in, that, no, this is not just, like, we're not just, like, throwing some humor in. We're resetting the tone.
It's a full-on comedy movie.
And it is. And it's amazing.
It's an action comedy movie.
I laughed way too hard. But when we get into spoiler territory, there was a point where I lost my breath for a little while, and I was having a hard time recovering, and we're going to get to it.
Well, the thing is, and I said this to you last night when we were talking about, or earlier today, I forget, I really wish I could have found a way to see this movie again beforehand. We recorded. Because I'm definitely going to forget a whole bunch of things that should be mentioned. Like, just stupid funny lines. Like, where we do that thing where we just throw out our funny lines at each other. Like, I mean, like,
absolutely.
There was so many funny lines, so many funny slapstick, like, things that happen, like, just, like, visually, like, visual gags and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to forget so many of them. Hopefully you'll bring some up that I'm losing, and I'll bring up some that you're losing, and, like, we'll turn this into some sort of, like, mishmash of, like, the greatest hits of this movie, because it is hysterical. It ranks up there, right up there with the 2 Guardians movies as far as just raw comedy. Like, it may be the funniest one of the 3.
That's actually, when I came out of the theater, that's what I thought to myself. I was like, oh, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, this is the comedy set for these series of films, and I was like, nah, I don't know. Like, this one was pretty great. So,
and even though this one's Taika Waititi and not James Gunn who did the 2 Guardians movies, you can clearly see that's, at least in part, what he modeled it after.
Right.
in part. It's not an out and out rip off of it, but
Yeah.
there's clearly influences of that where they're trying to incorporate the way the cosmic MCU is supposed to look.
Right.
And like I said from the time of the trailers, it's thematic with music and it's cosmic and it's comedy, like all these things. Those are all Guardians things, and it's good that it's not a rip off of those things. Just clearly, pleasantly inspired by.
Agreed.
Because it definitely was still also a Thor movie. It didn't play like a Guardians movie. I mean, there was a team-up aspect of it, but I didn't feel like I was watching Guardians with different characters.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely. And I'm curious, like, it kind of, it pushes Doctor Strange out a little bit by being so funny. Because, like, it and Guardians are now, like, they're in the cosmic, like, set of these movies, and they're hysterical. Doctor Strange had its funny moments, but it's not in the same vein, obviously, as these three movies.
No, it's funny too because Strange is in this movie for a brief period of time.
And
by the way, that was mentioned in the lead up to, like that was in the news that he was going to be in this movie. We knew that.
Well, it's also Thor was in the post credit on Doctor Strange, right?
Actually, a bit of that post credit was actually what we saw on screen in this movie.
So it's not really whatever. It's not a spoiler. No. It's cool though because he's very straight faced and going about his business, and there's some aspect of that is also extremely humorous in the setting.
Yeah,
like it works. It just works really well.
Well, it's funny too because you can look at Strange and Thor as kind of almost like a before and after, because it's like Strange acquired the personality or. I want to bring that up actually later on, but he acquired kind of the role that Thor had previous to this movie, and even actually it started with Ultron, where Strange feels the weight of the world on him.
Yeah.
And Thor but that's a new position for him, and Thor in this movie has clearly learned to not let that get to him, you know what I mean?
Right.
The weight of the world no longer is weighing him down. He's found a way to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny to see those two face off, where it's like, not that there was ever really an acknowledgement of that per se, but in my mind, that's how I viewed it. Watching their interaction it's funny, like that kind of dry, imperious, super serious like character is now Strange, whereas it had kind of been Thor before this.
Right. I'm trying to. I was trying to say something without getting into spoiler territory. I don't have anything other to say than if you're on the fence, you're just get off of it and go see the movie.
Yeah, if you felt burned
good.
by the previous Thor movies, don't. This is like it's completely different. Like,
yeah, like if you like Guardians, then go see this movie. If you didn't like Guardians, I don't know why you're here.
Yeah, if you didn't like Guardians, then you're not really into what they're doing with Marvel right now, so you're not...
Judgment passed. All right. The veil is lifted. We're getting into spoiler territory. We're not holding back any further. Dude, as I mentioned before, like the movie starts off making me laugh, right? When he's in this cage and he's talking to this skeleton, like just him talking, I was like, oh, cool. This is just a fun little narration. Like and that's how it was pitched in the trailer. He's narrating that scene, like he's narrating it to the viewer, and then you realize, no, he's talking to the dead person in the cell with him. How long's Thor been here?
Yeah,
which is what runs through my mind. And then, so like we get like forcefully thrown into this movie as like the cage breaks and he drops out and he's going down that chain, and that's the point where I was like, okay, this is funny. And like I said, like I don't expect it to be this way the whole time. They're getting a couple chuckles in up front, getting people loosened up for the movie.
It did feel like the type of thing that was going to exist for that scene, and they were going to kind of mostly leave it by the wayside after that.
But then he starts spinning on the chain.
That's what really first got me too. It was him. Oh, sorry, I'm not doing this.
They totally went the Family Guy route. They did it. It was funny. They did it a second time. Yep. Okay, they did it a third time, and then I just started laughing uncontrollably. just really well done. But like, there's points where like it's too much shtick, but it still works. It's still funny. Like he's said something like he's gonna get his hammer right now, but he doesn't time it right, and
Yep.
and he's like, oh, I really thought I had that right. Hang on one second, and then finally comes through, and it just had me cracking up in that opening scene.
It's like they took all the best parts of Thor, Guardians, and Deadpool.
Right.
Because the shtick stuff, like that stuff, that's very Deadpool.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just, and it's funny because so we got that, and that's great, and that's what makes this movie good. The overall story is okay. It's nothing spectacular, but
it's not spectacular, but it was still probably one of the better stories of Marvel.
I guess. I don't know. I guess maybe they all. It's not really. I don't know. It didn't. The story is okay to me, but like this movie is fantastic.
Well, I guess it's the point of like the movie being coherent, like the plot being coherent.
Yeah.
Even though there was a lot going on, it kind of followed, and I guess also it's kind of like it's the character outing. You know what I mean? It's about like, hey, let's see what these people are all about. Let's see what they're doing. Let's watch some growth and struggle amongst these characters. Right. As they try and figure out the world around them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it's Thor coming to terms with who he has to be, right?
Yeah.
And Loki, who he has to be, and Valkyrie, who she has to be, and Hulk, who he has to be. Like, we're figuring out, like, these 4 characters are going to be important going forward, and they're important to the story, and let's figure out who they are and where they stand, right?
Yeah. You're right. It's funny, they go to Asgard the first time we get there, and it's not Heimdall who's at the gate. It's what's his name? Scourge. And it's funny because the way that that happened, it didn't dawn. I don't know what was about the scene. It didn't dawn on me that like he'll be back later and there's gonna be a reason he's not there. It felt very much like, oh, I guess they couldn't get Idris for this movie. Like that, I didn't know what was going on. Like it just didn't register as like it was something that actually there was a reason behind it until later when they bring him up again that he's on the run.
Like in the way that they couldn't get like Jamie Alexander to be Sif in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was that?
I don't know.
But
apparently she was supposed to be in it, but I guess because she's got her show, like there wasn't time, like she couldn't, like her like schedule conflicted with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. Things happen. But I mean, it's just funny because like they mention him, so like at first, like I said, I didn't think he would actually be making an appearance. I thought they were just like giving a nod. No, like just accept it. He's not here.
No, the way things stand, you can't have a Thor movie without him being in it in some way because that dude's story is not over.
Oh no. Absolutely not. But that's why also part of why it was weird to me.
Well, especially for 2 things. One, the fact that they got him to be in Ultron for that brief scene, how important he is for the finding of the Infinity Stones, and then further, if you subscribe to any of people's theories about the collection of the Infinity Stones, Heimdall has a pretty important part to play. Yeah. There's a lot of speculation that he may have one of them.
Right.
Which, let's talk about that for 2 seconds. Like, there was no new Infinity Stone in this movie. I thought this was going to be the one. You know what I mean?
The one where they talk about that?
Where we discover, whatever, acquire the last... Because I think there's 1 missing or 2 missing at this point.
Oh, I don't remember. That's the other thing. It's like, I feel like every time one of these movies comes out, I need to go back and rewatch them, but we're rapidly approaching the point where there's not enough time between movies for me to see them all.
Well, see them all, certainly not. No, but just for the fact that there's only 1 more new Marvel release that's coming out between now and the first Infinity Wars, and that's Black Panther, and that wouldn't necessarily be the one I expect to have a new Infinity Stone in.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
So I think there's supposed to be 6 total.
Uh-huh. The five on each knuckle, and then the 1 in the middle.
In the middle of the back of the hand.
Yeah, I think that's right. How many Infinity Stones are there?
What?
I'm Googling it.
Well, because we had the Aether, which was from Thor: The Dark World. We had the Tesseract, which was from Captain America, whatever. There was the one from the staff that ended up on Vision's head.
Right.
And then there was the one from Guardians of the Galaxy. And so there's 2 missing.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
6.
Considering how important Thor is to all of that, and the fact that we see a fake Infinity Gauntlet in the vault, which actually I thought that was kind of a cool little scene.
Yeah.
Where she goes, most of this is fake, and you see the Infinity Gauntlet, and she just smacks it off to the ground. Like,
well, it's funny. That's I actually have a note about this, about retconning the gauntlet in Odin's, what was it? His vault.
Yeah.
Because there's, I didn't know this. This is not an observation that I had. I read it in a random article that like people were annoyed by the fact that it's there in a background shot in the original Thor movie, and it's never been addressed. And that was like a really, really funny fan service, quick way of doing that.
I guess so.
And I think that's really cool. Fake! And knocks it off the thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does kind of jive with everything that was going on, considering he, like, the trophy room was, like, how important it was, like, having the things, like, that was important in Thor 1, and this one, with him acquiring, like, the crown of Surtur or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Huh. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I guess maybe the 2 gems will come up in the next one. I don't really know. We'll see. I mean, in like, within the context of in the next Avengers movie, but we'll see.
I mean, Infinity Wars is going to be split to 2 things, so maybe they find one in that, and then the last one isn't discovered until the second part?
Possible.
Or maybe it's found
in some movie between the next...
that comes between them or
whatever? Which is very possible.
But the thing is, there's only going to be one movie after that next year. There's Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think, right?
I think so.
And then that's the last one for 2018, and I don't know what the release schedule of 2019 is. I think Captain Marvel's supposed to come out, but I don't know if that's before or after or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, well, we'll just have to see. I'm sure whatever they do, it'll work out.
I guess I just expected that one of them would show up in this one because it's Thor and it's cosmic and whatever.
Well, I mean, they also, there was a lot of emphasis on the Heimdall character, like, later on in the movie, so it's there. It could just be set up, like, getting you there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But we get our Doctor Strange after we leave Asgard. And as we mentioned before, it's just fun because like he's totally taken on the character at this point. He's gone through the transition of the first movie, and like he's fully accepting who he is and his role now. And it's so outlandish to Thor, but he's just like going about his business and like popping in and out of parts of the room and filling up his beer. And they do it in such a funny way. Like when Thor just keeps getting tossed from room to room, and he's drinking, but he's also like getting drunk and falling and like just getting frustrated with this guy that's bouncing around the room. It was really comical.
And like spilling the beer all over the place, and looks like he's getting nauseous and might throw up, and like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone is ringing.
What is that?
It's the house phone. Yes, we still have a house phone in 2017.
That was that ringtone though.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's got like a little jingle to it. I don't know. Also, sorry. While you were talking about Doctor Strange, I realized that we both sucked. There was Doctor Strange in his movie. That was one of the stones as well. The Eye of Agamotto.
Didn't you say that?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
That's one of them. So we only are missing one.
Wait, hang on. We got the purple one that was in Guardians.
Yep.
We got the blue one, the Time Gem.
Tesseract.
Space Gem is Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Power Gem, the yellow one.
That's. Wait, what are you looking at the comics or the movies? Because they name them different things.
I am looking at the comic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Infinity Stones. How many Infinity Stones have been found?
There you go.
Great top Google search. Big fan. The complete novice's guide to Infinity Stones. The Verge. Anyway, that yellow one is in Vision's head.
Is that yellow? I thought it was orange.
It looks yellow in this picture of Vision here. I'm scrolling through. All right, the Tesseract is the Space Stone.
Yep.
Aether's Reality Stone.
Okay.
Where is that one from?
That's the Dark World.
The Dark World. Right. Orb is the Power Stone. That's the purple one. Loki's scepter is the Mind Stone, the one that Vision has in his head.
Correct.
The Soul Stone, not yet seen in films. The Soul Stone of Marvel Comics was a somewhat sentinel creature that could trap souls inside another world. Okay, and the Time Stone
is Doctor
Strange.
So that's 5 that we've accounted for then.
4, 5.
Alright, so then we're all scheduled then.
Yeah, so there's just the one. Just the soul.
I retract my previous complaint.
So, yeah, I wonder. I mean, it could be. Maybe this will come out of the Black Panther.
Or it might be in Infinity War Part 1. I mean,
it's very possible. Like, it could be.
So that was the thing, is I was like, they can't find 2 during that movie. You know what I mean?
It could be like the race to realizing that we have to like account for these stones, and then a really cool ending to the first part would be the bad guy getting control of all of them.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. That'll be pretty awesome.
The race is on. That's what Thor ostensibly was doing.
Right. That's true.
Since Ultron.
Yeah. Whether or not he knows.
I mean, he hasn't found any of them other than the Tesseract. But
right.
He has been looking. I guess not very well.
Now he's just goofing off.
He picked up some great jokes along the way, but hasn't really honed his detective skills so well.
But so when we're from Doctor Strange's lair, we finally get to see Odin when Doctor Strange tosses Loki and Thor.
Wait, no, we can't just gloss over that part. How funny was just the reveal of
folding for 30 minutes?
Yeah, I've been folding for 30 minutes.
I really like when they uncover that Loki is just in disguise as Odin, and he's
That's
holding
what I'm saying.
Like,
that was something I was talking about with someone today. Was did Thor know Loki was faking to be Odin before he got there, or was it when he saw that Odin became a hippie that was weird?
It all added up for him when he got there. These are his detective skills at work. He saw the Loki statue, and he's like, "That's not right." He saw Odin enjoying a play. Like eating grapes out of some woman's hand, like that. Like it just didn't work, and he realized what was going on.
It was the Odin ponytail, and the fact that he was wearing leisure robes, right? Like that's what
that was great.
Like I've never seen you not in kingly attire or like battle armor. What the fuck's going on?
Oh my god, that's too funny.
Like that reveal of Loki, which all the way like was clever. Like well, if you are Odin, you'll have no problem catching Mjolnir because I'm the only one who can catch it otherwise. So I don't know. I just conveniently happen to be standing behind you, making sure you're standing in front of me.
It won't stop on its way to my hand. Oh man, that was great.
Also, brief aside: were you able to pick out, or did you look at it like the 3 actors who were in that play?
No.
One of them was Matt Damon.
Was it really? I wasn't paying attention to it at all.
Wait, no, you didn't. In the play he's watching, Matt Damon is playing Loki. It's like very obviously Matt Damon in a bad black-haired wig.
Oh, that's great.
And like, well, because like you get a like they zoom in on him and he's being overly dramatic, but it's like very obviously him. The other 2 actors are harder to pick out because they had beards on, and you wouldn't typically think of them with beards.
Okay.
So Matt Damon is Loki.
That's great.
Thor was played by the oldest Hemsworth, who a lot of people don't realize exists. I only realized he existed because
he looked like him.
Yes, he was in Westworld, the first season of Westworld.
Okay.
And I looked him up at the time. I was like, "Do I know this guy? He seems familiar." And I looked him up. I was like, "Oh, there's a third Hemsworth. That's why he looks familiar."
Right. Hemsworth a third.
Yeah, so it's funny that they had him playing Thor.
Or the first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the oldest.
Yeah.
And Odin was Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, that sounds familiar.
Jurassic Park?
Sam... Oh! That's great!
Yeah.
That's awesome, I love that.
And what's his name even said after the movie came out that he wished he could have gotten him and Jeff Goldblum into a scene together somehow.
Right.
And that, like, for the next one, like, even if it was in some, like, retarded way that they did, like, a post-credit, like, he wants to see if he could get, Laura Dern and like the three of them into a scene together somehow.
That would be really funny. That's great.
Which
I did not know that at all.
Since she's in the Disney umbrella now, being that she's going to be in episode 8.
Dun dun dun. That's great. I love that. I had no idea. Cool. See, yeah, I got to see this movie again and again and again. As I mentioned, 12 more times.
Yes. that might be too many times.
No. You don't know.
Sorry, let's get back to the Odin thing. I know we just took us off on a tangent, but that just followed a logical progression. You wanted to talk about going to meet Odin for real.
Yeah, so we finally we get our second helping of Sir Anthony.
Wait, sorry. How funny was them standing on a street corner watching the old folks' home that he was supposed to be in getting destroyed?
That was great. They're just
I swear I left him here.
Right.
Now, you left him on the sidewalk?
or in that building.
In the place where the building used to be.
That's great. And then when it's open, the portal's opening up below him, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "It's not me." But that was great though, as he comes back and like, I've been falling for 30 minutes, and he's like so angry. But we finally meet the real Odin, and what I love Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
And he plays two roles in this movie. He plays Odin as the impersonated Odin, which is really funny and goofy. And he's aloof. And then you get super serious, like way too serious for this movie, Anthony Hopkins. But I think that he is a gem. I love him.
Well, so here's the thing. I love Anthony Hopkins as well. When he was playing real Odin, whether it be Odin who was about to pull a Yoda, or whether he was playing Odin in the flashback, he's very clearly mailing it in.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. But I think that they got him to do all of that because they promised him that he could fuck off and be Odin the party boy when he's pretending to be Loki, or when Loki's pretending to be him.
Right. I didn't really feel that way at all.
He's having fun in that scene.
Yeah, but I just thought that, like, I just thought that was just, his skill as an actor, like he playing those two roles in both of them. Like I didn't feel that he was phoning it in. I thought that he was like he's portraying this character as very tired.
Every line he had was kind of clipped and short. Like okay, like let's get to the next line. Like let's get to the next line.
But
okay.
I feel like that's very much what was going on with the character, though. He was dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't sound tired. He sounded tired of being there.
It seems intentional to me for the character.
Maybe. I don't know. It didn't seem like again, considering he pulled a Yoda, he didn't sound tired in the way that Frank Oz sounded tired as Yoda.
Sure. As in, he wasn't speaking and his sentences broken and out of order.
Well, no, more like he didn't sound like
the
weight of the world was on him. He sounded like, I got lunch with someone in an hour. Can we be done with this scene, or...
I don't know. He's never been that... that character's never been that sentimental. So it did seem... It seemed right to me that, like, he's... Like, I'm done here. I'm moving on.
It wasn't about sentimentality. It was just like he... Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would figure someone who was about to disintegrate and be dead after being alive for, like, 1 billion years or whatever he's been alive for, like, maybe wouldn't be like him. Oh, yeah, that's not right. Oh, no, I'm gonna die. Yeah, you guys gotta go deal with that.
I don't know. After 1 billion years, I would feel that way. But moving on to Hela. So we got our introduction to the sister of the group.
The goddess of death?
That was cool. And then, like, big intro. And, I mean, again, another thing that is shown in the trailer and probably didn't need to be. The breaking of the hammer, that would have been a cool thing to just hold off on until the movie, right?
I mean,
and then,
I guess I understand why they chose to do it, because it's like, why should we take this seriously? Oh, because that thing that no one else can lift or stop, she caught it and blew it up with her hand. Oh,
you broke it.
Like, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I will say, though, that the joke I probably would have laughed out loud and extensively at the line where he says, "I lost my hammer," and well, that's still pretty fresh, so that doesn't feel great or whatever he said. Like that was really, really funny, but because I heard it in the trailer.
That just happened like a day or two ago, but yeah.
But just like that was in the trailer, and that took away from it for me. But that still is a funny line.
No, yeah, I agree. That was funny.
So
I also kind of liked it was like a kind of a dumb little line, like not like super funny or anything. I just kind of liked the line for whatever reason, where she's like it's the first time she's meeting Thor and Loki, and she goes, "Well, you don't really look like father. You sound like father."
Yeah. It's funny, like they do a good job with the villain because I give them a lot of credit for this, especially like in the writing and whether it's the original stories and where these characters came from. Props to them too. Like they consistently get like these villains that are more and more interesting and powerful. Like they have to one up the last one, right? Otherwise, it's the same movie.
Although they still fell for the same thing, where like at the end of it, she's done.
I mean, there's gonna be. It's incredible with all of these movies that have come out that they've still managed to at least get close to doing that.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It's like, okay, how do we make this an actual adversary? Oh, let's make the adversary related, and let's give them the same tool set. Basically, like they've come from they're cut from the same cloth, so it should in a way be a deadlock. Like we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Thor got a never-ending glass of beer, and she got a never-ending supply of swords.
Right. Who's going to win this battle? That was she had some cool like powers. I also that's another thing like with these the cosmic great hair with the cosmic movies, like you just accept these certain things, right? Okay, this character has this weird ass ability. And then as the movie goes on, you see more and more things that they can do with the ability, but it's never quite clear to you where the limits are. Yeah. And I kind of like that.
Well, and they also kind of built in a good way to do that too, like where Odin says, if she ever gets to Asgard, she's just going to keep getting more power. Like she's going to continue to get more powerful. Like she's going to draw her power from the place.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we see that. Like she's badass, and then she gets there. It's like, oh, she can just fucking kill anyone at any time with very little resistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Also, see, this is the thing, is like I would compare her to Anthony Hopkins. Kate Blanchett looks like she's having fun. You know what I mean? Which admittedly, not that I expected Anthony Hopkins to have fun in the role of dying Odin, but like she looks like she wants to be there. I don't know.
Yeah.
She just seemed engaged. She looks like she's having the time of her life. She'd shoot up the scenery, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
She was menacing and intimidating, but still had a couple of funny lines too, even in a dismissive way, For sure.
I gotta say, there's the infinite void of space is terrifying to me, and so it makes that scene where they're like on that path to Asgard and like fighting in like this rainbow tube, and two of them get thrown out of it. That terrifies me. It's like, where are you going?
Which, by the way, they kind of played around with, like the fact that like Thor just shows up on that planet, which name I'm forgetting now.
Garbage Land.
Zakar. And like he shows up and he's like, "Oh, Loki got here at the same time." He's like, "No, I've been here for like 3 weeks, man."
Yeah, that was cool.
Like, how does that work?
I love it. I love the mystery that's around it. But again, like you're just in this set of movies, you just accept it.
Oh yeah, and even like the Grandmaster says, like, "Oh yeah, time works pretty weird here." I'd be like, I don't know, like 1,000,000 years old or something like that on any other planet. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of kicking it here.
Yeah, as a DJ and Grandmaster with disintegration stick. Whatever other weird things that you have.
Oh, God, it's on my shoe. Oh,
no. Oh, no.
It's
man.
Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, which I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not necessarily a huge Jeff Goldblum fan, but he's pretty damn funny in this.
He is
even
so
though
funny.
Being peak Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. We're going to get to him a little bit later, and my uncontrollable laughter. So we meet. So we're on this planet, and we finally get our we got our introduction to TK421. As
Yes, I'm glad you remember.
this okay, so missed opportunity to call. What was her the Valkyrie? What else did they call her?
It was like Scavenger 124 or something like that.
I was telling Al earlier, missed opportunity to call her that. Seeing as how she was not at her post, and it would have been amazing. Like if they just dropped that in there and just never said it again. It's like, oh yeah, like we have the rights to Star Wars too. Just and just walked away. Like that fits with the tone of the movie.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like just crossing over the genre, like the IPs there would be really funny. Anyway, that character was kind of cool.
Valkyrie?
And another funny, like really funny scene. Just her walking off the ship, taking a drink of her drink, and just falling sideways off. I was like, where's this character go? Okay. And I feel like that was me the entire movie.
Also, pretty badass. I like that whole like setup thing where she like set up and then like she can control the guns like with her hands from her ship.
There was some straight up murder in that scene.
Oh, she butchered them. It was great.
That was crazy. But we finally get I love our introduction to the Hulk, which again, great scene. Not as mad about this one anymore. It would have been funny to see that line of him being really excited that it's the Hulk coming out of the gate for the first time.
I saw like a little while ago. Like you mentioned the thing about Kevin Smith giving them the idea. I just saw today. Chris Hemsworth said that the idea for that line came from he was doing like a Make-A-Wish thing and met with a kid who was like a huge Marvel fan, and he was saying like basically he got that line from the kid, like how he was going to handle being excited at seeing Thor.
That's awesome.
Like, you know, the whole thing, like, oh, I know him from work. Like,
I love that.
Like, apparently the kid gave him like that line.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that scene was that it is like he sells that. Like he looks so happy in that when he realizes that it's him. It's so good. And
also, I love that his joy is matched by Loki's fear.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that. That was amazing.
Like he straight up tries to get up and hide in the corner.
Yeah. Like he's traumatized by being slammed into the ground.
Yes.
By the whole, which way to go with doing that scene again. And him getting excited about it and being like, now you know how it feels. Like that was so good.
Also, was anyone else like a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that Thor didn't get that? It wasn't the words that calmed down the Hulk so much as Scarlett Johansson delivering them.
Oh, I loved that. I loved how awkward those scenes were.
Like it was funny, and like I was wondering if they were ever going to do it. And finally, Mark like Banner's like, Can you stop saying that, please?
Yeah, because he's doing it while he's at Banner. That's the like walking through the city streets.
Like please stop doing that.
I'm getting real low. like he's singing them along. That was amazing. Oh my god! But right before we get into the arena, we meet what's his name, Korg. Who steals the show? I read a lot of things about the Hulk stealing the show. Korg steals the show.
Oh my gosh! And I wish I could remember more of his lines because he had so this big rock monster, and he's like so mild mannered, and like he's got this like very meek voice, and it's just like funny ass stupid lines, and like I can barely remember any of them, and I just remember dying every time he opened his mouth.
Yeah, every time. Like when he's on screen, it's like get ready, like you're gonna like split your side. Like he's hysterical. Like just as something as subtle as like he's just delivering a standard line. Like there's no humor in it, but as he's delivering it, a piece of rock falls off of him, and he's like, "Oh, there goes that," and I lost it. And then he's talking to Thor, and walking slowly, and Thor's running around the room, and like he just so calmly is like, "Yeah, it's a circle. It's a weird place." It's great. And then you see when Loki's in the room and Thor throws the whatever it was, the bottle at him, and it goes through him because he's just like it's a hologram or whatever he does, his mind games, and he comes running over and he's like, "Screw you, ghost!" and he kicks him. Oh man, so funny.
That would have been the funniest one. Yeah, he just comes. He's like running, trying to like drop kick him basically, and he's just like, "Screw you, ghost!" And he's gone.
And
hey hey guys, you want to join our rebellion?
Yeah, and I don't mean to jump ahead. I have to right now though because we're on the topic of him. But when at the end of the movie, when he's standing there and he's holding his friend.
Oh my god!
And it's like, oh no, he's dead. Oh, you're alive. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the whole thing, and I don't remember what that alien. Hey, look at him. Yeah, he's cool. He's got knives for arms. Like,
yeah. What does he say? Oh, he's like, it's okay. As long as the foundations hold, it'll be fine. Oh, and there they go.
Yeah, that line. I don't remember what the name of that alien was that Korg was like friends with, and Thor's like, what about you? Where do you think we should go? Oh no, yeah, he's dead. He died in the battle. I felt really bad because I think I accidentally trampled him, and I've just been carrying him around. And like he just kind of shakes him, and it burps and comes back to life. He's like, oh,
you're alive.
He's still alive.
So good. Which is again, just what a great that character had me laughing a bunch.
And for those of you listening and who don't realize, that was actually the director voicing Korg.
Right, which is great.
So we'll see him again.
I love that.
Even just the stupid line with Loki when they meet him after the rebellion, like, hey, we just had a rebellion. You want to join us on this ship? We're going to take it out of here. He goes, you look like you all need leadership. And he goes, oh, thanks, man.
So good.
Like, it's not a compliment. Like, no. You guys clearly look like a bunch of fools, and Loki's going to take you over, and you're just like, hey, man, thanks.
Yeah. He just, plays this burnt-out rock. It's great. There's the scenes where they're in Hulk's bedroom, and they try to.
I think you mean Hulk's pleasure palace because he's got a big bed and he's got liquor on the liquor cabinet over there, and he's got a hot tub and a little workout area, game area. That's a bachelor pad extraordinaire.
Mm-hmm. But this is it's the perfect example of when the movie's starting to deliver some actual story, and they're just oh, hang on, we're getting too serious. So they're Thor's talking to Valkyrie, and they're starting to see eye to eye a little bit, and then he goes to break the window with the ball, and it bounces back and hits him in the face.
Oh yeah. And
not it was just the way that was delivered. Like I said, you're okay. We're getting into the story. Nope. Let's just make you laugh a few more times.
Wait, how about? The story's getting too serious. This interaction between Hulk and Thor is getting too serious. Let's have a joke about Thor having a permanent image of the Hulk's dick.
Oh my god, that was another one. That's in my mind now, I think is what he says. Yes. Oh my god. He makes that complaint about his hair getting cut off too at some point.
Yeah, wait, can we talk about that too? Because I'm going to say, for my money, that's the best Stan Lee cameo in the whole MCU.
that was a pretty good one.
There's him cackling and, using this horrifying death machine to cut his hair.
Right.
I was cracking up at that whole scene. I just love his, maniacal cackle, and you got, I am Thor, son of Odin, you will not cut my hair. And he just, fires the thing up.
Yeah.
My arm's not as steady as it used to be, and he becomes pleading. Please don't cut my hair.
Yeah. So funny. But so I got all right. Now I'm going to share with you the scene that got me, and it's funny, but it's probably not that funny, but for whatever reason, it just had me hysterical. So when they're on Jeff Goldblum's orgy ship,
oh, fantastic!
When they're trying to escape and they hit whatever button that they hit. And the birthday celebration music comes on, and the hologram of him pops up, and it's it's my birthday, and I just lost it. and for a good 3 minutes that followed, I couldn't stop laughing at that scene. And it was just perfect.
That was funny, but I was cracking up at where are the guns on the ship? There are no guns. That's his pleasure cruiser. He uses it to bring ladies up for. Does she say orgies? And he goes.
Yeah.
So, maybe don't touch anything.
Yeah. That's great, too. And then, you get that, just in the same vein, you get the post-credit scene where, his, whatever ship he's on there crashes, and he's got, a few girls on the ship with him, and he's just great, great resistance, guys. Great
effort. That was a hell of a rebellion there.
Yeah, this is really
cool.
cool.
How about my role in this whole thing? can't have a rebellion without someone
to overthrow. Yeah.
So, just great, everyone.
Good job. Good job all around.
Let's call it a tie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, he's too much. I love him. I want more.
I feel like they used just enough, like just the perfect amount of him, but also could have even used more of him.
Yeah,
not a lot more, just a little bit.
Yeah, you got to walk a fine line, right? Because it could quickly become too much.
Citizens of Sakaar, take to the skies.
Yeah,
I'm my champion.
Yeah, it's too much. Now I'm thinking about that scene with Loki freaking out that the Hulk is there. That's just so funny. Because he's Jeff Goldblum's in there like freaking out too, like, oh, like, what's your problem, guy? Like, don't you love my champion? Like, what? Like, what's your deal?
Oh yeah, because he like kind of reprimands him, like, hey, come back here. What are you doing? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Also, wait, like, we gotta talk a little bit about Thor and Loki like interactions, because there's the thing like we already briefly like touched with him, like, did you leave him on the sidewalk or not? And like, I don't know why the sight of Loki with his long, greasy black hair in a suit just didn't really work. I was like, that guy doesn't fit. Like, Thor does his thing where he's like just like some dude that you might see like a hipster in
with an umbrella.
With an umbrella. And then you have like Loki in that like 3-piece suit,
right,
all black, and his like greasy ass hair. Like,
yeah.
But then you have the story when Bruce Banner, Valkyrie, and Thor are all talking, and Loki's handcuffed in the room, and Bruce goes, "Can we just talk about this real quick? I feel like it's pretty obvious he wants to kill all of us. Like, I feel like he's tried to kill all of us before." Yeah. And she goes, "Oh yes, he also just tried to kill me a few minutes ago." And Thor goes, "Yes, he's tried to kill me many times as well. There's this one time when we were children, and I was walking through the woods, and Loki knew that I love snakes, and he transformed himself into a snake. And I picked up the snake, and then he turned back into Loki, and he stabbed me."
This is so good, and he just like laughs about it, and it was a Banner just like gives him like the eyebrow up, like what? But the opening of that scene though, where whatever he throws at his head that hits him,
yes,
to prove that he's actually in the room. Great.
that was a great running joke too, because he just keeps throwing shit at him the first time, but it's the projection, like when we talked about the ghost scene. Yeah. And then like he throws the thing off and it like dings him off the head, and then there's the thing at the end, which was like a cool thing, which I don't think we're ready to get to emotional like feel good stuff yet.
Yeah. Because
before that, I want to get to Thor's favorite game, Get Help.
Oh my god. We're not doing Get Help.
We're not doing Get Help. Please help me, my brother, he's going to die! And he just launches them at them. And that brings up one of my favorite lines of the whole movie at the end, when Thor has finally come into his power fully and embraced it. Loki has come into himself instead of thinking of himself 100% of the time, maybe he thinks of himself like 80% of the time now. Right. And we have Valkyrie, who's lived up to her moniker. The three of them are facing off against Hela on the bridge. And it's dead silent as the two sides face off against each other. And Loki says, "We're not doing Get Help."
Yeah. Oh, man. That's so good. It's so well done. And even on the bridge, you get the, that's where we got our Hulk for once in your life.
Oh my god.
Smash. But big monster.
but big monster. No. No smashing.
That was great. You want to get into? You said you didn't want to get into, what was it? Feel good stuff. I
want to get like emotional feel good stuff, like because there was the whole thing with him throwing things off him, and then at the very end, when he throws it and he catches the thing.
Yeah, I guess one other thing, comical before you get into that. What was it? What were the names of the two guns that?
Des and Troy.
Yeah. So stupid. That one was just so dumb. Like,
you could see it coming a mile away too.
But it worked because like just the comedy throughout the movie works.
Yeah, that was a funny line, and I was disappointed with Scourge because I really like Carl Urban as an actor in general.
Yeah.
The first thing I saw him in was Lord of the Rings. I really liked him as Éomer in Lord of the Rings. That was one of my favorite characters, kind of from the books and from the movie. He was good in Red. As random as that is, I like him as Bones in the Star Trek movies.
Oh yeah, he's good in those.
Yeah, and even he was in a show, J.J. Abrams' show, that didn't last past the first season. What was it, Almost Human or Being Human or something like that. It was like a futuristic cop show with like android cops and shit, and it's him and Michael Ealy and Minka Kelly and that dude with the fake eye from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was kind of a ridiculous, stupid cop procedural, but
yeah,
like I don't know if you remember that show existed or not.
No.
That was about 3-4 years ago. But I liked him in that. He was the main character. He was good. I don't know. I like Carl Urban, so I was pretty disappointed. I thought they underused Scourge. I thought they didn't like. It seemed like they were going to set him up to be somewhat important, and then he just kind of ended up being the butt of the joke, and like he just kind of like broods a lot.
Right. No, I totally get it. Something about him misses the mark.
Like it seemed like they were setting him up to be interesting or funny. Right. Like that line, like him being just like a doof with those two girls, and like, this is my stuff. Right. And, like, I'm just the janitor, and he gets like exploded brains of like dragon and stuff like that all over him and his chicks, and it's like, oh yeah. And then there's the whole thing with him like chasing Thor, trying to get to Loki first, and he runs in and I announce Thor, you had one job.
Yeah.
One job.
We're not playing Get Help.
And yeah, and then like after all that, like he just kind of broods and like does. I thought, okay, maybe he's gonna take this to be like the dark right hand of Hela, and he doesn't even do that well. Right. Which is the whole thing, like, oh, I want to prove myself. So it was like, okay, he's gonna go all in on this, and then he's gonna prove himself by being like just a bastard, and well, no, not really that either. And then it's like, okay, I guess he's gonna be a coward. He does the whole thing. Like, actually, it reminded me very much of from The Hobbit. I guess the third Hobbit movie. The creepy dude who dresses up like a woman and hides with the women and children.
Oh, yeah.
He literally does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But he finally gets his redemption arc where he gets to take Des and Troy and save the transport of Asgardians and had his heroic sacrifice. You knew as soon as he jumped off he was going to die. But that was a good end to him. It was just like, it just seemed like they booked him to be something more, and it just kind of didn't really make him mark.
Yeah, I agree with you. That something about it just doesn't really. It misses the mark. That's all.
Yeah. Like I just figure like they would have cast some random dude to do that role.
Yeah, like it didn't have to be him.
Like I thought Carl Urban. Oh, like and like I remember hearing a bunch about him in the production. I was like, oh, like he's gonna have a big role. Cool.
Right. Yeah. Can't all be perfect.
No, and as well, while we're on the topic of people being underused, rest in peace, Warriors 3.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
No,
they got cut down real quick.
Oh, like immediately.
It's like, hey, it's those guys. Oh.
And like the worst part about it was like, at least Hogan got like some screen time, got a couple of lines, got to have like a glorious ending. Fandral and Volstagg both died before I actually had to fully realize that that's who they were.
Right. It was abrupt.
Like, oh, hey, those guys are in this movie, and they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an exaggeration. That's how fast that happened in my mind. And on screen.
It was pretty crazy.
So fast that I waited till the end of credits to look at the credits to make sure that Ray Stevenson and Zachary Levi actually played those roles. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just their stunt doubles. Because they were on screen for precisely 15 seconds.
Craziness. Yeah, that's actually like there's a lot of brutality like throughout the movie, and there's some dark stuff going on that you kind of lose sight of with all the comedy, which I'm okay with just because it was so funny. But like that right there, that scene is terrible. Like murdered, and then they go into the city and they murder all of the soldiers, and
which I'm okay with all that. The way they handled that, and Hogan's like ending like she's the goddess of death. That's how we understand just how dire the circumstances are. I didn't like that two supposedly beloved characters from the comics who had a decent sized role in the first one had kind of a fun little role in the second one, had almost no role in the third one, other than being brutally murdered without having a chance to appreciate the fact that they were even on screen. And yeah, like they're just dead, gone, like completely. And like I like both those actors too. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? I don't know what it is, but Ray Stevenson in The Other Guys cracked me up as like the bad guy, like the Australian head of security.
Mm-hmm.
And like he just has like a bunch of dickhead lines in that movie. Like he's just a ridiculous like action movie henchman, but like he's laying into it like that's what he's supposed to be. And Zachary Levi, I enjoyed, and also Ray Stevenson was good in Dexter too, playing like a Russian mobster. That was a random role. And Zachary Levi is Chuck. Chuck's one of my favorite, like, kind of a stupid show. You would like that show, actually.
Chuck?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
I can see you and Kim actually enjoying that show.
Maybe we'll give that a try.
Also, I guess he was never going to really stick around with Thor because they just cast him like a week ago in Shazam.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be Shazam.
Shazam.
So that's kind of a big deal for him, I guess, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird thing to do in such a way.
Yeah. What else you got?
The criminally seductive god of thunder.
The criminally seductive god of thunder.
That is something that I believe Thor called himself.
I think he did. Dude, when was that?
I think, was it when he was entering the arena or something like that? Is that what it was? Is that what he wanted to be referred as? It was either that
it was either that or like when he got captured by those people the first time.
Yes, it might have been that. It was something around all of that. I just remember cracking up because, like, I can't picture Thor from any of the other Marvel movies saying that line.
Right. That's so stupid.
And at the same level of vanity, if perchance, like 5 episodes from now, you wanted to call me the criminally seductive God of Thunder, I wouldn't be upset.
All right. I'll add it to the list. We'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I cracked up pretty good at that. I thought that was a funny-ass line.
I can't. Now I'm trying to think of exactly where it happened. I just really want to go and watch this again.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I was surprised by that. And actually, like, while we're on that, because this is kind of like into the meat of this movie, like why this movie works. And not just why the movie works in general, but why it worked for me in particular, like why I cared.
Mm-hmm.
They finally gave Thor a personality in this movie.
Yeah.
And not just, like, they gave him a fun personality or gave him, like, a peppy personality. Like, they gave him a personality, period. Yeah. I felt like he was this amorphous blob of a ridiculous caricature of a person in all the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Somehow it gets through with all of the humor and everything going on. Like, you do care about the lead.
Yeah. Like, you care about Thor at all.
Right. And before it was just kind of like, all right.
Well, yeah, because he was like a Shakespearean warrior caricature, like a over-the-top, like aristocratic party boy thing. I don't even know what in like the first one.
Yeah.
In the second one, he's
another.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just ridiculous. Like, unhand me.
Yeah.
What?
The
second one, he's just
before
a guy.
Jane dumped you.
Avengers, he's kind of a toned down version of himself in the first one. Like, there's that one line when he's like, they're arguing on like the helicarrier, and he goes, "You humans are so petty," and like that's the only line I remember him having in the whole fucking movie.
Right.
And I guess the seeds of this Thor were planted slightly in Ultron.
Yeah.
Because he gets into that pissing contest with Tony about who has the best girlfriend and this and that, right?
Yeah. You're right. Like they were getting there. Like they're, I guess, starting to realize what they want to do with him.
But they still kind of left him mostly on the side in that movie. Or hell, like there's one whole section of the movie where he's just not on the screen.
Yeah. Well, it seems very much like they obviously have some big plans for him with the upcoming Avengers movies. So I feel like they have, like, they're trying to get you to really like this character.
Yeah, and also, I I mean, it's a credit to Chris Hemsworth, like, realizing, like, hey, like, let's do something with this guy. It's a credit to Taika Waititi, like, let's do something with this character. Like, if we're like, unlike Zachary Snyder, who hates Superman in Superman movies, like, he loves this character and is letting him do fun things. Like, yeah, man, go to town. Like, have fun. Like, say dopey shit. Like, be funny. Be like, he's over the top, but as not
Jane didn't dump me. I dumped her. It was mutual.
Yeah. Like, it's just like he's one of those things, like, where he, like, again, it's like he transformed from having the weight of the world on himself to realizing that he could hold that weight and kind of just be a person. Like, it humanized a god, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got a sense of humor. Like, he's still noble, but is not, like, ridiculous Shakespearean noble, and it's not self-referential noble like Captain America to a certain extent. It's, I finally figured out what's right and wrong, and I'm just going to go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make speeches about it. I'm just going to go do it, except for, like, trying to get Hulk to get on board, right?
Yeah.
And we see, like, he gets to the point, like, at the end where he has to pay quite a price in losing his father, losing Asgard, losing his eye, which, by the way, we're going to have to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty brutal.
Kind of a big deal. And he still retains that sense of humor. Like, he sits down in the cap, like, he said a couple times in the movie, like, I don't want to be king. Like, I don't want that to be thrust upon me. And he realizes that, well, if he doesn't shoulder that burden, everything's going to go to shit. Mm-hmm. But let me still keep that sense of humor. You know what I mean?
Huh. I'm sorry, I'm hung up on the eye thing. I forgot all about that. Like, she jacks up his face in that scene.
Which, like, you expected her to be brutal, right? Because she's the goddess of death and all.
Right.
And that whole storyline was kind of cool. At first, I didn't think I was going to really care, but the whole thing with, like, that was part and parcel of Thor, like, coming to terms with himself, right? Where he looks at the destroyed fake thing that Odin had built up on, like the Sistine Chapel thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, shit. Yeah, I guess everything wasn't so happy-go-lucky and great and noble as we thought. I guess, yeah, let's just kind of embrace that we're gods and let's just be gods.
Right.
But he goes through that whole thing and she just fucking slices his eye out. Like, it wasn't that she did something so brutal, it was just how sudden and unprepared it was for it.
Yep. Like, so much so that, like, after it happens, you don't realize it for a second?
Like, the fact that it was so sudden and brutal, and, like, I was just like, oh, did she slash her? Or, like, is that blood, or it's the lack of eye? Which one is that?
Right.
And I almost, as I'm studying this and trying to, like, oh my god, like, yeah, like, she just slashed the fuck out of his face, and his eyeball's gone.
Yeah.
Did she drop a one-liner about now you look like father? Oh, yeah, so. That happened.
Yep. That's about right. That's pretty on par with the rest of this movie. Which is great. There's something else about the tone of the movie. Like, there's maybe not the tone, but like the way they like the posters for this movie and like the way they did the title screen and the music.
Don't forget the music.
And the music, like all of it, like the color palette alone makes it like this, like those types of movies from the 80s. Like it reminds me of like I'm trying to think of. Hang on one second.
There's a particular movie that I have to deliver this to you in a particular way. So while you think, I'm going to go find the text message I sent to, and I'm sure he'll be listening to this, but my cousin Mike, who is our biggest fan.
Yeah. It was Beastmaster was what I was thinking of. And other movies of the 80s that have that. There's something about it, like this epic adventure in that color palette. Like there's something going on there, and they captured that with the movie. Well,
so we had mentioned that it was Guardians-esque, right? And that's what my cousin Mike said. And I said, yep. I could see that even back to the trailers. It's the cosmic 80s vibe. And he said, yeah, and the cheesy 80s Nintendo fonts, which is what you said.
Right.
Said, and all the synth music. Said, it's basically Flash Gordon-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which Mike loved that, and I'm sure he'll love it again. Like,
there's when they did the review on IGN, I think the title they gave the review was Thor. He'll save everyone on us.
Really? I remember reading that review. I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, I think that's the tagline they put on it.
Okay, then I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. Like it it works though. Like, and it gives me that feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is really cool.
You can see that's clearly an inspiration, just like better.
Yeah.
Like not cheap and cheesy.
Like if you were to do that 10 years down the line, get it on your list.
Exactly.
But it's so good. I can't wait to see it again. I also can't wait to see the next thing that happens with him. And I know, obviously, as it says in the final screen, that he'll return in Avengers. If I can get... Well, actually, I won't even go there. I can go really spoiler about the next Avenger movie, but I won't do it until after it comes out.
What do you mean you're going to get spoilery about it?
I watched the first few minutes of it.
How'd you see that?
I'm not going to actually say it here because we actually published this.
Oh.
So...
I guess that'll be a discussion for...
Yeah, I mean, it's a known thing. It is a thing you can find if you look hard enough for it.
Okay.
People smuggled it away on
Nice.
on crappy phone video.
Would you say that they smuggled it through the devil's anus?
Is that what they called the big hole, like the big the garbage chute?
That whole thing might have been the hardest I laughed in the whole movie.
Oh my god.
We're gonna go through one of those wormholes. Oh yeah, there's a great one outside the city. It'll take us a couple of weeks. No, we're going through the big one over there. The devil's anus? I did not know that's what that was called when I selected it.
That was great. I actually also loved, like, we got the beginning scene with that giant monster that he knocks his crown off, which is his head essentially, and it brings him down. I like that that wasn't just a thing to introduce, like, to bring Thor back on screen. Like, I like that gets tied back up nicely at the end where they utilize him to destroy Hela.
I did think that it was kind of an odd thing to the point where, like, I didn't necessarily, like, call that it was coming back in the way that it did, but when he makes a realization, I'm like, oh, no, I can see where they're going with this here, and then he allows him to come back.
But big monster.
Big monster. No! That was pretty cool, like, I did like that whole plan. That was kind of cool,
I will say, after that scene, though, like, where he comes out of there and he starts, like, going to town on Asgard, before they all leave, I was like, did Loki get out of there? He did. But it wasn't clear how or when.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. I mean, I guess we didn't really have to see it because he, like, summoned it and then just booked out of there,
Yeah, which makes sense, but I wasn't sure if that's what they were doing there.
Wait, we forgot to mention Bruce calling back to a different Bruce when Edward Norton was Bruce Banner and leaps out of a plane to become Hulk and save the day. And this time, when he leaps out of the plane to save the day,
he dies. When that happened, I was like, oh no.
I felt like they kind of went a little over the top with the whole, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know you too. And they don't, like, Valkyrie and, like, Bruce don't realize that they know each other. Like, that, like, Valkyrie and Hulk were best friends.
Right.
And he does the thing, well, now you'll know who I am. And he leaps out, and it's just, like, quiet. And a gigantic fucking wolf is flying in. And it's like, oh, and, damn, he did.
Yeah, and he's like mangled.
Oh, yeah. He thudded.
That was amazing. I forgot all about that. That was a great scene.
Phenomenal.
Right. Such a fun movie. You got any other?
I kind of like the double speak that Thor has when he's talking. Bruce. Oh, sorry. Don't talk about Tiny Banner. Yeah, no, I don't like Bruce Banner. I've always liked Hulk better.
Yeah.
I've always liked Hulk better. And then when Bruce comes back, don't worry about it. Don't think about the Hulk. I've always liked you better. You and your science and math and,
Or what about when they go to the ship and Banner goes, strongest Avenger? And Thor goes, really?
Actually, that was kind of funny. when, like, because they had the whole thing, oh, Hulk, you're my friend. No, not my friend.
Yeah.
And then he, like, chases him down, and he's like, friend, no,
Yeah.
come back, friend. No, please stop destroying the ship, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, man. Such a fun movie. I can't, like, again, can't wait to see it again. I think I'll be venturing out to see it again in theaters before it makes its way into my collection.
I probably won't, but I definitely want to see it again as soon as possible.
You got anything else?
No, I'm just pretty psyched for this, and I'm psyched for what's coming up, man. I'm excited for seeing this again. I'm not excited for Justice League. I'm excited for Star Wars, though, pretty soon.
Oh.
Black Panther, Infinity War.
Yep. The movies are being good to us.
Yeah, it's nice. We had a little downturn. Now it's coming back up again. You don't really expect it in the fall and the winter, but yeah.
And right after all that, Oscar season will be upon us, and I love that season, even though you don't care for it that much.
I feel like this Oscar season's not going to be as fun as it's been in the past.
We'll see.
We will.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, you can't know. All the Oscar movies come out a day before the Oscars.
It's not so much that as the fact that Hollywood's cannibalizing itself.
Yeah. Well, that's fine too. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
It's good that these things are being brought to light.
Oh no, that's not at all what I was implying. The criminality should be brought to light.
Yeah.
No, it's just a shame that the toll it's taking, but not that it's particularly important. It's just I feel like
sure.
The Oscars are not going to be fun if they ever were.
Oh, the Oscars are great. I love them.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, let's get out of here. That's it for this week. You can check back in with us next week, and we'll most likely be doing Murder on the Orient Express, as we mentioned earlier, and giving ourselves a little bit of time before we jump into Justice League, which will probably follow the week after that. Going 2 weeks ahead now. What's happening? It's like it's a real show, right? Like we have like a plan. There's a slight structure or loose structure.
What is with all this organization?
It's
and
about
structure and planning.
Where like the show's good. It went from like a pile of Jenga blocks, like instead of it being a pile of the blocks like after it collapsed, like it's now the rickety structure about 10 minutes into a game.
Okay.
And I mean, what more could you ask for, really? Anyway, that's it for this week, and until next time, cheers.